What's going on, everybody? Esteban Shedd here. Welcome to Corner Talk. You know, in this series, the I Am series, we're going to confront Jesus and take him for his own words. So we're in the book of John. It's a famous gospel, and it's one of the most intimate gospels that almost like paints a picture of all the different angles of who Jesus is. And the beautiful thing is the brush that paints that picture is his own words. And so Jesus wants to take us for who he is. He's not afraid of that. And throughout all human history, people have been fascinated with this person, the Son of God, who he claims to be, but he's also a human. And in particular, the stories that we're going into aren't really starting from his birth, but they're starting from a place where he's a 30-year-old human man in a city, like so many of our cities, the city of Jerusalem and the surrounding areas, and he's interacting with people that may have a different cultural background than us, but they're still people. They got problems, they got issues, they got sickness, they got anger, they got self-righteousness, they got communities that are hurting. And so when you read John, the Gospel of John, you're reading who Jesus is and how he interacts with real people in a real city. This is why it's one of my favorite Gospels, and traditionally it's been one of the most powerful books of the Bible, because it gets you right into Jesus's world and who he says to be. So welcome to Corner Talk, man. We want to chop it up, explore who Jesus is. Ultimately, each lesson is leaving us at a place with saying, man, who is Jesus? Who does he say he is? And what does that mean for us? All right, so welcome to the corner. Let's do this. 2 dangerous words. So check it out. Jesus is often portrayed as a happy-go-lucky teacher who made people feel good all the time. But in John 8, 2 little words almost got Jesus stoned by an angry crowd. Jesus was drawing the lines of identity between himself and that crowd that was in front of him. First off, he outright told the crowd that they were slaves to sin. In fact, he called out all humanity as being slaves. Everyone who sins is a slave to sin, right? Sin means doing or thinking something that goes against God and his perfect character. It draws a line between his perfection and us. Even more so, being sinful means someone whose whole being is rebellious against God and misses the mark of pleasing him. Then he drops a bomb of thought about his identity as it differs from the crowd in front of him. So Jesus knew that the Jews trusted their family tree to be right with God. They considered that their sin was covered, and Jesus offends them by saying the truth, but he does it in love. Essentially, he says, look, I know your background, your family tree, but by the way you're trying to kill me, you show who your real father is, the devil. This situation all leads up to one of the most famous statements in Scripture. Jesus says about himself, I am. I am. In that instance, he was claiming to be the eternal God of all creation, not just human, as they saw him there, but fully God who came out as a man to save them from their slavery to sin. Jesus, knowing full well that they banked on their historic family tree for right standing with God, claims to be God with these 2 sacred words. He identifies himself as God in front of their face. Now keep in mind, they're looking at a 30-something-year-old adult claiming to know God in heaven and be greater and older than someone famous in the family tree, Abraham. His claim was an offense to their whole worldview, their family, their identity. He claimed to be divine. They responded with wanting him and his message completely gone. So my question is, how would you respond? Many ideas float around about who Jesus is. The book of John accounts in detail what he claimed to be and what he did while he was here on earth. So I encourage you to wrestle with the I am statements of Jesus. Wrestle with the real Jesus and how it impacts your worldview. He confronted the crowds in his day, and he still does us in ours. Some believed him, some rejected him, some followed him. A lot of people wanted him dead. So my question is this: who do you think he is, and what are you gonna do about it? Peace.